tripping for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Modify Your Life podcast, where I'm the host, Anthony Lopez, also known as Heavy to Modified. And here on Modify Your Life, we talk about modifying your life mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. We have a couple different segments on the podcast. We have myself and my co-hostess with the mostest, Ms. Modified Frankie. We have our segments where we have guests and they share their stories of success. And then we have one more we haven't done at all of 2025. So I want to reintroduce you to Heavy Talks. And Heavy Talks is where I sit down here and I say what I feel is necessary to be said. These are conversations that I've had with people, with clients, with experiences outside, and things that I feel that we're lacking, things that we need to work on, things that I've needed to work on, and how I've overcame them. My goal is having a podcast is to not bring you a problem, but always to bring you a solution to a problem that you have. I feel that we all have enough problems in the world. I feel that we could go on social media and we could find more and more problems as we keep scrolling. But at the end of the day, I'm all about giving solutions. I'm all about building a game plan, and I'm all about building structure in life in order to win, which strikes this conversation that I want to have today with all of you. It's going to be the blueprint. And what the blueprint is that we build this blueprint, we build this plan to be successful, and we stop. And what I mean by we stop is that we stop when we run into something difficult. We stop when we run into a roadblock. We stop when we get pushback. We stop when our wife doesn't support us, our husband doesn't support us, or if someone says that you look the same when you know damn well you've lost 20 pounds. The blueprint is an amazing thing to have. A blueprint is going to allow you to show you where you to go to point A to point Z that you feel is going to be the best for you. But what you don't have on that blueprint is hard days. That's something that you can never put down on a blueprint, but you know that they're going to be there. And the problem of us not being successful is not the fact that we don't have blueprints. All of us have blueprints. All of us know how to be successful. Every single one of you knows how to run a successful business, how to buy your dream house, how to become a weight loss coach, how to become a business owner, how to become a boss lady or a boss man, whatever it is. You guys all have the blueprint. It's literally embedded into our souls, into our DNA to work hard. But what it is that us as a community, us as a whole, us as people do not like any type of pushback. We don't know what it is to actually suffer. We don't know what it is to actually suffer. Not, oh my gosh, I'm starving, but you ate 30 minutes ago a whole bag of chips. I'm talking about actually suffer. And where I've realized that life doesn't slow down. Life doesn't care what you're doing. Life doesn't care how great you're doing, how you mastered blueprint, blue plan, whatever you have. Life is always going to keep moving, and life is always going to be life. So in my blueprint, I've already added failure, already added heartbreak, already added distress and stress and sadness. That is in the beginning of my book, in my blueprint book, that is the first chapter. And the reason why is because we know that's going to come. 2 years ago, I was getting ready for my bodybuilding show, and I wake up at 11 something. My grandma calls me. My grandma's asleep at 9 p.m. 8 p.m. My grandma calls me and says my dad was murdered. She is crying. I've never heard someone cry like that before. I've never in my life heard her cry, let alone any person cry that type of a cry before. And the first thing I do is I tell Francine. Well, first thing I do is, let's be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I started bawling like a little kid. And then once I got my shit together, I said, we need to go. At this time, I'm living in Vegas, and my grandma's living in California. For those you may not know, it's about a 4.5 hour drive for an average human being. For us, it was about 3 hours and 20 minutes. I needed to get to my grandma. So as I'm driving and everything is before we leave, I'm thinking about everything. I have clients to help. I have podcasts that need to go up. I have content that needed to be edited. I didn't even have my laptop together. I said, we have to go. We didn't even have a bag. Francine looked at me and said, go take a shower, get yourself together. I'm handle everything for you. And so I do that. I listen to her. For once in my life, I listen to her. And I go in the shower and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Like, it wasn't planned for this. It wasn't not part of my blueprint of doing a weight loss transformation. This wasn't my blueprint of being on a weight loss journey. This was not my blueprint of life. And I'm in the shower crying. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? First thing is, okay, cool. I'm in the shower. Let me get out of here because I just felt really like I didn't like being in that close space. Being in the shower after like having like, I felt like there were just things going around my head, like just different things and events and just conversations and this and got to do this. I got to drive here. Is there gas in the truck? Is there blah, 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 blah. I just felt like I was so confined into one space. I had to get out of the shower. I was about to like hyperventilate, and I don't mean like I never hyperventilate. So I get out of the shower and I said, okay, shut up. Like I literally told myself, shut up. Francie thought I was talking to her. I was like, no, not you, me. Okay. She's like, I was like, let me send a message to my clients, let them know I can't be there tomorrow. I did overshare and said, hey, this is what happened, but I need to let my clients know that I take my calls serious. And we adapted. 20 minutes later, we're out of the house, gas up to the truck. We're on our way to California to deal with that shit show. I ended up being there for almost 2 months. We were there for almost 2 months going through all that stuff. And as I was going through this, I didn't want to become that person that shared everything in the moment because it's going to look like it's a sad song. I think we have enough people in our life that share the things they're going through right away for us to feel guilty or bad for them. I didn't want you guys to feel bad for me. Some of you didn't even know that my father was even murdered into this podcast. And what I was thinking is this. The next day, obviously I didn't do Zoom calls. The next day I didn't do Zoom calls, but the following day I had a group Zoom call and I did it. And no one expected me to be in there. And a lot of other clients were very supportive and they sent me and my grandma flowers. It was beautiful, such a beautiful. I love you guys for that. But what I was thinking is that there was some clients that didn't read the message that happened. And they were upset with me for not doing Zoom calls. They were upset for me for not responding back for 2 days through text message when I respond back in normally about 20 minutes to a couple hours. And I sat down and the first thing I thought, I got mad. I was mad at them because do you know what I'm going through? Like, how dare you get mad at me, right? But then I started to realize, like, wait, hold on. Look at it from their side. They're paying me to be their coach, not paying me for my drama, for my life story, right? For my sadness, for my heartbreak. And so that's when I realized that regardless of what your blueprint looks like, regardless of how successful you feel this blueprint is going to make you, life is going to keep going and life is going to keep being life. So you have to prepare in that blueprint to be successful. You need to build discipline. In order to be successful in life, you need to have grit. You need to have the urgency to keep going. You need to build yourself up to prepare for anything that life throws at you. And when I mean anything, guys, I am talking about anything. I never in my life thought I would see the shit that I've seen in the courtroom for 12 months. Be prepared. And that right there, even though it was a very horrible situation, even though it was something so difficult, something I couldn't even grasp my head around, even though it was very hard to see myself hurt and my grandma hurt and everyone worried about me, I still had shit to do. I still had clients. I still had a relationship. I still had a weight loss journey to keep going or maintain. I had muscles to grow. Nothing stopped. And at that moment right there is when I realized no matter how crystal clear your blueprint is, it's never going to be bulletproof. Never. And when we start to build these we start to build these blueprints to be successful, and we start to plan out our weight loss journey or our business venture or whatever it is you're working on, when we get a little bit of that kickback, that pushback, that little bit of uncomfortable feeling, that little bit of distress, that little bit of, oh my gosh, am I going to make it? That right there is when you need to double down. Because that right there is when an average person quits. That right there is when the old Anthony Lopez, 650 pounds, couldn't see my dick, morbidly obese, had my girlfriend put on my shoes, depressed, stressed, suicidal, and broke. That is when that version of myself quit. And that Anthony Lopez was an average human being. And if you want to be successful in life, if you want to do something that is going to be greater than yourself, I don't know anyone in the world that's been average that's completed something that's worth talking about. Imagine if they made a superhero called Mr. Average, Mr. fucking McDonald Flipper, Mr. Burger Flipper. Mr. Fry Getter, put it in the bag. Just put it in the bag. Imagine they made a superhero that freaking, when you ever seen a superhero Uber driver? Think about it. If you want to do something that's going to break years and years of stress and depression and obesity in your family, if you want to break that curse, how the hell are we going to do it by being an average person? It's not going to be possible. And an average person is going to quit when things get difficult. A winner is going to put their helmet on. They're going to put their gloves on. They're going to put their shield on. They're going to put everything they need to do to get ready for war. And they're going to get out there and they're going to fight. They're going to fight every single day. And you may be listening to this video right now and be like, well, fuck, I'm not a fighter. Yes, you are. Today's your day to fight. You may be thinking about the time where you just, you crumpled in a little ball and started to cry. Okay, that was a past. What'd you learn from it? Because let's not forget the person I'm talking about today, the person you're listening to on this podcast today was once the person I'm talking about. I was that person. Lazy, stressed, depressed, suicidal, lack of discipline, lack of empathy. Just a fucking selfish human being. Fat. Disgusting. Miserable. Lazy. I could go for days. And some people may say, well, you're being so harsh. That is the truth. That is who I was. Because no person that I know wants to live a life where it's difficult for them to wipe their own ass. Where they struggle with sitting in. No, sorry, not even struggle. They can't sit in booths. Had to walk through a door sideways. Been made fun of for being fat. No one that I know that's in their right mind would love or wants or dreams to live a life that way. So no one loves, and that to me was my version of average. I was an average living human being. You may say, well, you're 600 pounds. I was above average in weight gain, but I was living the life of an average human being. So if you feel that this conversation is to you, is dedicated to you, if you feel like this topic of this heavy talks was meant for you, then now is your time to buckle up and go fight. Go to war. Overcome these battles. Become the version of yourself who you know you could be. Stop saying yes to these fucking average people. Stop going hang out with these average people. Stop spending time and money and pouring into these average people. And let me turn around. Stop letting your friends and your loved ones pour into your average self. Are you that average person in the group that's bringing everyone down, that's sucking everyone dry, who's taking everyone's energy? Change that shit. Literally now, change that shit. It took me to get to 650 pounds, suicidal, had a horrible dream about my sister who has a learning disability, in order for me to get my shit together. That's why you're listening to this podcast right now, so you don't make the same mistakes I did, so you don't live the life that I did. Yes, I changed it. Yes, I fixed it. Yes, I have these cool podcasts set up and I fucking wear a normal size shirt. I can see my dick now. All that stuff, yes. But that was a gamble. There was a 0.1% chance that I would be sitting here right, Dave, coming from everything I've ever overcome. Why would you build your life? I'm literally telling you that roller coaster goes and it crashes and it burns. Why would you hop on that ride? Why would you hop on the roller coaster that just leads you to a life of fucking being miserable? When I'm sitting here in this other roller coaster saying, hop on with me. Let's freaking go. Let's become the best version of. Let's do the right thing. Let's be a good person. Let's have respect and courtesy and for ourselves and for others. Let's build a lifestyle that someone wants to talk about that's going to be praised. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. You guys aren't going to know me for this watch. You're not going to know me for these fucking Amiri shoes I have on. You're not going to know me for this cool ass podcast background, which you're not going to know me for this logo. You're going to know me for what I did for your life to help you become better. So what would someone say about you? What would someone literally right now, if you were to die right now, what would someone say about you? Would it be positive? Would it be impactful? Would it be something that you want your kids to know about you? Or would you say that, man, that person was living a life of destruction anyways? That person wasn't living to his full potential anyways. And that is the best thing and the coolest thing about life, is that every single day that you wake up, you have oxygen in your lungs, your eyes open to see and breathe and smell another day, you have the opportunity to become better.
All this happened for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.